All right. Okay, so now we got that recording started. So let me go first through kind of a little bit of a brief introduction to Convirza, kind of who we are, why we do these webinars on a regular basis. So Convirza, we're a call tracking software company. So we work with marketers and advertisers that are wanting to track how many inbound calls their advertising campaigns are generating. And then we also provide with that service a feature that we call conversation analytics. And so today's webinar, what we're going to do is we're going to focus kind of on that feature and what is conversation analytics, how can you use conversation analytics to drive value to your business, and specifically what we'll be talking about is how to use conversation analytics to identify missed opportunities, and I'll go through some of that. So as an introduction to myself, my name is Brett Danzy. I'm the sales manager here at Convirza. I've been with the company over 3 years now and have worked with a lot of different companies on implementing Convirza and conversation analytics, and I'm excited to present on this topic because I think it's something that is really valuable. So as we begin, I'll just kind of do a little housekeeping. If you're having any issues or want to submit questions, we would like to have a good Q&A session at the end of the presentation, so please type in your questions in the little control panel that you have up on your screen, and then we'll get to those questions at the end of the presentation. So you can write in those questions anytime you would like, and then we'll get to them at the end. We've tried to be as interactive as possible on these, so please submit as many questions so that we can have a good Q&A session at the end. So let's kind of jump in to the presentation now, and we'll get started. So the first thing is, as many of you know, we currently live in a very data-driven world. All of our decisions that we're making now are typically backed by some kind of data set that we've collected and analyzed and looked at, and we are always looking for richer data, more actionable insights into what's happening in different aspects of our business, so we can understand how to optimize whatever activity that we're doing. Specifically, I imagine most people on the call today are in either sales or marketing, so we're always looking at different data points as to what's happening and how can I make either the dollars that I have go further, or how do I get more out of what we're currently doing. And so that's kind of a constant theme that we're hearing. One of the main things and trends that we're seeing out in the marketplace is that the way companies and businesses are thinking about calls is changing dramatically. And a couple of reasons for that. Probably the main reason is that the volume of inbound calls is going up dramatically, and that's a large in part due to the calls that are coming from mobile searches, right? So mobile search now is the leading search out there, and because of that, that's just a one tap away from a phone call, and so just the sheer volume of calls is going up. And so because of that, the way that we are thinking about these calls and how they're being handled and are we optimizing for those is evolving, and that's becoming a really hot topic recently. The other big thing that we're seeing, and I think a lot of other businesses are seeing, that when these calls happen, these are typically really purchase-ready type consumers, meaning that they've done their research, they've done a lot of comparison, and then by the time they, click on their mobile device to call or wherever it might be, that they're ready to make a decision. So they're not a passive lead at that point. They're typically something that is ready to make a purchase within that phone call or shortly thereafter, take some kind of action. And the other big thing that is changing, that's kind of evolving and helping businesses kind of rethink about phone calls and what they mean to their business, is that the technology is getting a lot better. Over the last 5-10 years that we've been kind of researching and developing conversation analytics, the speech pattern recognition software, the cloud technology, the data science, that all we're able to use is all evolved and evolving very quickly to allow us to do a lot of really cool and interesting things that previously we really just didn't have the computing power to do. And so now with the hardware and the processing power all increasing, now we've got the ability now to handle these big data sets. So with that, all of this presents kind of an interesting challenge for a business. So now we know, we've got calls coming in, we've got people that are interested in those. The challenge is how we lose visibility to these calls once they go from online to offline. And that can be really challenging, because we're used to all of our tools being able to track, the entire session that they were on, until they filled out the form, until they make a transaction. But once they pick up that call, we lose visibility, and we don't know what's happening on that call. We don't know, does it convert, does it not convert, are we good at converting those calls, are we poor at converting those calls? And the main challenge that I hear over and over on a daily basis is just there's a lack of insights into these phone calls. And as we're getting more and more of those, so now we want to take a look at, well, how do we go about tracking those, right? And so this is where missed opportunity notification and understanding of calls that are missed opportunities is really, really valuable, because it helps us to overcome this challenge that is we don't have a solution for currently. So kind of when we talk about missed opportunities, exactly what is a missed opportunity? And so at Convirza, what we've kind of done is define a missed opportunity as a sales inquiry that comes in, so a new customer that comes in and makes a phone call, and for whatever reason we're not able to convert that call to a next event, right? So either that might be, if I'm a home services type business, maybe the next event that I'm always trying to optimize for is I want to be able to set the appointment, right? And if I have a call that comes in and I'm not able to set that appointment, then that would be my missed opportunity, because that next event never got scheduled, right? Or it might be I'm a transactional company and that sale wasn't made, or that my hospitality and that reservation wasn't set, or I didn't even do a good enough job to get them interested just to request a quote or additional information, or send me a video explaining that, right? So a missed opportunity is where we have a new sales inquiry that we're not able to convert to a next event. And so basically that means that lead that we've paid for is walking out the door, right? We're not going to be able to convert that, and currently that's just kind of revenue that's walking out our door. So what we've done at Convirza is kind of try to rethink what is the value of a missed opportunity, and how meaningful could it be to me if I were to track those and try to recover some of that revenue that's walking out the door currently, right? So we've created this little calculator that we call the missed opportunity calculator, and what you do is you just kind of select your industry, which we can kind of give you an idea of what your average recovery rate would be for that industry. So we've done specific research on that. Then you put in kind of what your estimated, call volume per day might be, and then what your average transaction price is. And then just do an estimate based on our research. We could give you, an estimated recovery rate if you were to recall that lead, right? And so by doing this, then you can calculate exactly what revenue that you could recover if you were just to follow up on the missed opportunities that are currently walking out your door, right? And so in this example here, for example, this would be for this guy, he was able to recover 5% of his missed opportunities that are walking out the door. Right now, it'd be about $1,700 in newfound revenue for him on a monthly basis, which would be pretty significant. So the results of a missed opportunity, let me give you just a quick example of a client that I worked with in the hospitality industry. So what we did is when we set them up, we kind of gave them an idea that, in your industry, typically what we find is about 35% of all calls that come in are going to be missed opportunity calls. So what we were able to do is say, okay, if you get about 30 calls a day and your average transaction price is $128, let's go ahead and see if we just recalled all those leads or all those missed opportunities and see what recovery rate that we could get on those to see if this would be even worth following up on. And what we were able to discover is that by doing so, they were able to recover about 8% of their missed opportunities and turn those into new customers, which resulted in monthly revenue of $2,300. So it made it a significant impact on their bottom line because these 8% that they were that they recovered, the month prior, those were just walking out the front door without booking a reservation, right? And just by simply knowing where those missed opportunities are and then reaching out to those, they're able to recover, a pretty good percentage of those and book those into reservations, which again led to that revenue. So the missed opportunity metric of all the metrics that we track in sales and marketing, it's not one of like a vanity metric. It's not a just kind of fluff. It's real value that you can recover, right? These are people that have made the effort to make a phone call, whatever reason, haven't converted. Now, if we can just circle back and give those leads one more crack, we're able to, close a pretty good percentage of those and make a significant impact on our business. So the next thing I would cover today is kind of how we do all this. So what is conversation analytics? How does it work? And how can we go about identifying these missed opportunities? And so at the core of what we do at Convirza is a feature that we have that's called conversation analytics. And what conversation analytics is a natural language learning program that takes the call recordings that we have by virtue of our call tracking service, and it records those calls. And when it records them, what it does is it records them in a unique audio file. So we record in a dual channel audio file. And what that means is that we have the agent recorded on one channel and the caller on the other channel. And then because now we know we have the audio broken down into two different legs, then what we can do is we can take those legs and transcribe those. And then what we can do is, once we have the transcription, is then we can go through and analyze that transcription for key phrases to understand what's happening on that call, right? So by querying that transcript, we're able to know, okay, we know the caller said this at this time in the conversation. We know the agent said this at this time of the conversation. And that allows us to understand, without manually even listening to the call, exactly what happened on that phone call. So it's automating your manual call listening, and it's giving you accurate insights as to what's happening on that phone call. And what we've done at Convirza with this feature is we've created a huge database of different, what we call indicators, different data points that we analyze for out of the box, that where we're providing to anyone that just wants to, turn them on, basically. And it's taken hours and hours of research and data science to get it tweaked into where it's at. But that's kind of at the core of what Convirza provides. And identifying these missed opportunities is using conversation analytics to automate the call listening part, to identify, in kind of right after the call ends, what happened on that call, so then we can take action on that. So this here is kind of a slide that kind of gives you an idea of how our system works versus what is other standards that's out there in the industry. So the first one here, most of our competitors and anyone that you've evaluated before, they use a system to identify what happened on a call, what we call keyword spotting. So basically what they're doing is you will say, well, I want to, if I'm looking for appointments in my calls, then I'm going to just look for the word appointment, right? And so what happens in those types of systems is that you have someone that calls and says, I can't make my appointment today. And if we're using keyword spotting, then the system fires and says, well, that call was an appointment, when in actuality it's not, because, and if you're not using natural language recognition like we are, then all you understand is that the word appointment was present, right? What we're doing at Convirza is not only just looking at the word appointment, but we're looking at the entire phrase, right? And so on ours, we not only understand that there was appointment present in that, we also understand that before that it said, I can't make, right? And so, of course, then what we would do is we would fire and say, no, that actually is an exception to that. Even though there's appointment present, we were going to mark that as no, that was not an appointment. The second example here you can see is what happens when you don't have the presence of a keyword. Like a lot of times when an appointment is booked, they'll just say, can you come in on Thursday at 5 o'clock? And the caller responds, yeah, that works, I'll see you then, right? So in this case, there's no presence of appointment set, but we have to be able to understand when we see, okay, I'll see you then, that's an affirmation to an appointment, and we need to recognize that as such. And this is really what separates Convirza and our conversation analytics service from everyone else that's out there, is the ability to not only just identify keywords, but to identify whole phrases and understand context and timing of that, where that happened in the conversation, to be able to get a really accurate scoring of that phone call. So it was about 6 months ago or so, we did a comparison of ourselves versus a lot of our competitors. And the object that we were looking to do is just to understand how we stacked up as far as accuracy compared to our competitors in the market. And so what we did was we took 100 kind of unique calls, and we pushed those 100 unique calls through our system and our competitors' system, and then we compared the results and we audited the results to see how accurate we were compared to our competitors. As you can see here, we had an 88% accuracy rate, which is about what we trend at. About 85 to 90% accuracy rate is our normal accuracy rate. And you can see here our competitors, because they're using that keyword spotting technology, were far less accurate, right? So this is, a really good news as far as we're concerned, because, we're trying to drive value, like we spoke previously, of those missed opportunities. And if we're not accurately identifying those and sending those over, then it's not really driving the value that we want for our customers. Other things that we looked at is we looked at kind of how we stacked up for certain different aspects of identifying different indicators in the call. So we looked at, how we did at, for example, identifying when an appointment set, and how we did at, compared to versus identifying when we acquired an email. As you can see, the very basic things like acquiring a phone number, a name, an email, an address, the keyword spotting is pretty reliable. And that's because it's a very basic thing to do. The more complex the thing that you're trying to identify in the call, then that's where the natural language identification, understanding phrases is paramount. And that's where you see the big discrepancy in the two different methods. So this again reaffirmed to us that, hey, we're on the right path of where we're at, and instead of focusing on spotting keywords, to focus more on understanding the whole phrases and the context of that, and building data science around that technology. So what's the benefit of all this, right? So how does understanding what's happening on the call actually make a difference into my business and my campaigns, and help me to help my salespeople? So the major benefits of conversation analytics is it gives you visibility. So now not only will you be able to understand, hey, this campaign is driving 50 calls the last month, but you're able to understand, are those calls converting? Am I driving just empty calls, or is that actually converting into conversions and leads, and those are actually helping me grow my business, right? So that's one of the main things, is it gives you visibility into what's happening on those calls, and that's a huge benefit. I had recently a business that was spending, about $200,000 a month on Google paid ads, and about 50% of their conversions from that were coming from phone calls. And what we were able to do is we were able to give them, keyword level data on all their different keywords they were bidding on how many actual calls came from on those keywords, but not only that, but of those keywords, which ones are driving conversions and leads. And from that, they were able to tweak their bid management, and it really increase the amount of not only conversions, but what keywords are driving conversions, and not just empty phone calls. And that just tweaking that bid management really amplified what they were able to do. And that kind of leads into the second benefit is once you have accurate data on of these phone calls, where are they coming from, and what is converting and what's not, and then if we're not converting, why is that? Is it a sales problem or is it a lead problem? But and up to this point, in order to make that decision, you have to go in and manually listen to those calls. And now with this, you don't have to manually listen to it. You can just get that data. You can make decisions in real time and make those tweaks without having to spend weeks and weeks listening to calls and trying to determine that. And the last benefit, and probably the one that I think is the most impactful, is the ability to automate a lot of these actions. So as we now understand that a call is finished, hangs up, Convirza takes that call recording, analyzes it. With that data now sitting in our servers, we can automate action on that. So we can set up email notifications, text message notifications, automated reports that will help us to identify when missed opportunities happen, when conversions happen, so that we don't have to wait for end of the month or end of the week to take action on this data. We can take action today. We can take action in real time, and from that, then we can go back to the beginning of the presentation and really start recovering some of this lost revenue that's currently walking out the door. So with conversation analytics, kind of what I want to focus on is basically we're simplifying it, automating, and then we can grow that business. Simplify, we don't have to manually listen, automate the results so we can get alerts and take action in real time on that data, and then that helps us grow our business. So in looking at the type of things that you can do, most of our clients, what they're doing is they're setting up missed opportunity alerts. So those would be alerts like email notification or text message alert, or they're getting an automated report sent to them on a daily basis of all the missed opportunities from the previous day. So these triggered responses, what that allows you to do is to take action on that data. So if you get an alert that says, hey, there was a missed opportunity, here's the caller's information, you got their name, you got the phone number, and then you also get the audio file of the conversation that you could listen to, so you can understand the context of what was said on the call. From there, it is just a simple recalling that lead or reaching back out to that in an email or whatever it might be that you want to do to try to recover that revenue. And that's where we're seeing huge impacts into people's businesses, like the hotel example at the beginning, is by simply just alerting themselves to when these missed opportunities are happening and calling those, they were able to recover 8% of those and generate $2,300 in found revenue. And that's kind of where the kind of powerful benefit of automation that's part of Convirza really comes into play. Another aspect of it is you're able to really understand kind of sales skill level and development of your team, and you can, by just knowing where these calls are, understand what is it that salespeople are doing. Is there a common theme amongst those that is identified when we have a conversion, and is there something different that happens when we have a missed opportunity? So it's having those calls identified so that you can go down and deeper dive into them, listen to them, really can help you understand where your team's at and what areas you need to work on in order to help them convert more of these calls into appointments or sales or whatever it might be that you're trying to do. Next slide here is kind of why Convirza and what is it that we do. So one of the things that we've worked on the last 5 years just tirelessly is getting conversation analytics to be accurate, something that can be reliable, that hey, we turn this on and we know that we don't have to listen to calls. We know this is going to identify things accurately, just as if we were to do it manually ourselves. And so right now we have a really good team here that constantly is tweaking and auditing our system, and they maintain it between an 85 to 95% accuracy rate on all the different indicators that we're analyzing a call for, which is, it takes a lot of effort, but they do a great job in maintaining that accuracy. And the one thing that I haven't mentioned here that I know we may have some questions on later is we can get this, customized to you, meaning that, if there's something that you want to identify that's we don't have out of the box, we can tweak the conversation analytics to identify whatever you want inside that transcript. And so that's something that is, if you stop and think about it, you probably have some things that are specific to your business that isn't a general thing that we would have out of the box, but if we could identify for you, would really drive value for you. Those things are definitely in our wheelhouse and stuff we'd love to work with you on customizing the conversation analytics to fit your exact needs. Here's kind of just a recent case study that we had from NES. They implemented conversation analytics and were able to kind of give their clients that wow factor of not only do we track where the calls are coming from, but now you can see what's happening on those calls. Another one of our customers, Wheeler Cat, they implemented the conversation analytics, and they recently, because of that, won the Cat Dealer Marketing Excellent Cup last year. I think that was last year in 2016. So those people that are implementing it and using it are seeing huge value in their business. So now, kind of as we want to wrap up, I want to turn it over and to Q&A to kind of get some questions from the audience. So if you want to go ahead and submit those here, I can answer those for you. Let me see here if we have any questions that have come in. Let's see. So let's see if we have any. Doesn't look like I have any questions so far. So if you want to go ahead and submit those questions in there, I'm happy to respond to those. And if not, we don't have any questions or anything like that, then we can hang up. Also, in the question box, if you want, go ahead and type in if you're interested in getting that missed opportunity calculator. Type in the question box there, I'm interested, and I'll have one of my reps follow up with you and get that missed opportunity calculator for you, so you could run that on your own business and see kind of what value it may be able to provide to you. Or you could just raise your hand too. There's an option there where you could just raise your hand. Either method there would let you raise your hand, and then we can follow up with you and get you that missed opportunity calculator, so you could take a look at it. So it doesn't look like I have any questions from anyone out there. So I think if we don't have any questions, what I'll do is we'll just wrap this up, and we'll reach out to you and see if you had any further questions or interested in a demo of conversation analytics and kind of showing you how missed opportunities work. So you can always schedule that with us also, and we'll go from there. So thanks everyone for attending, and we're have another webinar coming up next week, so be looking for that. And until next time, we'll talk to you then.